So we in aviation brought two very important memos to Council, which were graciously approved by Council. The first has to do with MM2, the popular MM2 airport that you know in Lagos, owned and run by Bi-Courtney, a private airport. As you all know, there has been a long-standing dispute of the concessionaires, by the concessionaires with the federal government. And that is, of course, run and owned by our dear brother, Wale Babalaki. I'm sure you all follow the crisis from one government to the other involving that airport, and of course, the hotel and conference center, which remains uncompleted opposite that airport. When we came on board, because of our training too, Babalaki is, my brother at the Inaba, we looked at all the issues and we sought a way out of the problem. Now, I can happily tell you that this government has resolved that issue, a 20-year-old dispute, once and for all. Council today approved the terms of the agreement we reached with Babalaki as to settle all the vexed issues surrounding that airport. Now, for the purpose of transparency, may I just mention a couple of the things that we agreed upon, because this is going to be public knowledge, and then we intend to be very transparent about this. Babalaki was Bi-Courtney, which is Bi-Courtney, had a concession of the airport until in 2003, presumably first for some number of years, and later extended to about 35 years. Now, one of the contentious issues there was that he claimed that the local airport, the other MM1, that local airport was part of the agreement. And so he ought to have also had that local airport along with his own. And so federal government ought not to operate that local airport. After all kinds of back and forth, the Supreme Court agreed with him. And so he won at the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said the federal government should hand over that airport, the local airport, to him. And in 2009, as a result of all of the charges and all that the federal government was collecting at that airport that he claimed we deprived him of collecting, the court ordered that the federal government should pay him some 132 billion naira plus interest. From 2009, 132 billion naira plus interest. Again, there was also a clause. This is not the fault of this government, because like I said, some of these agreements were signed, some outrageous agreements. When I came and I saw them, I wondered how certain persons in government sat down and signed these agreements. But of course, government is a continuum. We were stuck with these agreements, and we had to find a way out of it. There was also an agreement where they said that he had exclusive rights to run a private airport around Lagos, so no other person could build a private airport around, some radius around Lagos. And so that also puts the Lekki airport in danger. In fact, one of the issues that stalled the Lekki airport to be built by the Lagos state government over the years, because Bi-Courtney claimed that it was a breach of his own agreement, that no other person should run a private airport around it. So we sat down to discuss, and frankly, and first thing first, I told him, write off the 132 billion plus interest. Nobody's going to pay you that. He wrote it off. So Babalaki wrote off the 132 billion outright. The local airports, that is the MM1, I told him, hand it back to the federal government. We cannot leave the entire operations of aviation, local operations in Lagos, which is our heartbeat, to a private individual. Government has to have some kind of control. He agreed with us, and he handed over that local airport back to the federal government. The issue of exclusivity, we also told him that, look, it is not right, even for security reasons, for you to have complete control over the domestic market in Lagos. He agreed. So that exclusivity clause, we removed it. So these were the concessions made by Bi-Courtney, headed by Babalaki. So we thank him for his patriotism, because we actually made him to make all of those concessions. And we sat there in the spirit of brotherhood, because like I said, we are both members of the INABA, and we understood some of these judgments and how they can play out, and the effect of these judgments. So it was important that we both spoke on this. On the other hand, what did we give to him? The hotel and conference center, you can see the carcass there that has been there for many years. I think it was revoked by Jonathan's government, also I can't remember, Yar'Adua's government. We gave it back to him. It's okay. Complete and run it on a shared basis with the federal. So it's not even exclusive. We are still going to benefit from that, the federal government. So he has 24 months under the new agreement to complete that conference center and hotel, the 5-star hotel, opposite, I'm sure you all know it, opposite the MM2. Complete it and run it within 24 months. And we told him we will not tolerate any delay again. So that place, the whole eyesore there, the uncompleted building will be gone. Let us have a proper hotel, which will also benefit the entire Erythropolis around there. We agreed to give him back the hotel and conference center. The federal government also agreed to move domestic regional flights to his airport there, to Bi-Courtney's, to the MM2. Because over the years, we had actually agreed for some time now. They had approval to run regional flights from that airport. He had the permission. He had the permission to run regional flights from that airport. And so we are now moving regional flights as much as he can accommodate to that airport. These are just the give and take that we did. And in case it's apron, I think the apron will not be enough to contain some aircraft. We will expand his apron. So instead of giving him that airport, we agreed to expand his apron at MM2. So we're going to expand that apron so that he can have more spaces to park his plane. And then we'll run regional flights from there as much as the place can take. We also, of course, all of this was happening. All this disagreement, he was not paying anything on that MM2. Federal government was supposed to be gaining or earning something from the concession. Now, with this agreement, immediately after today, the federal government will now begin to earn its own share from the operations of MM2. So at the end of the day, it was a very good deal for everybody. It was back and forth, give and take and give and take. And so he profited and we profited. There are a couple of other things like fuel surcharges and all of that. We are going to have a bigger press conference in Lagos when we are doing the actual signing after this press conference, after this FEC approval. There, he will be there, the MD fund will be there, all other stakeholders will be there, where all the nitty-gritties. Okay, you can ask as many questions at that press conference as possible, where we are going to sign the actual agreement in that regard, because there are other smaller issues concerning the commercial department of FAN, where we're going to review. So that is, in summary, the final resolution of the whole problems regarding MM2. And we thank God that this government found a way out of that long-standing disputes regarding MM2.